Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Confidence Through Cabaret, the podcast. And today we are super excited to be welcoming an incredibly talented spiritual and divinity coach, the wonderful, the amazing, the absolutely fabulous Aakriti Kundu. Hi Aakriti, how are you?
Thank you. That was an excellent interview. You really hyped me up about me right now.
It is not difficult. We are excited to be featuring you.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
I'm
much.
looking forward to what this conversation will bring out. It's gonna be.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, we don't know, but that's cool.
Exactly. So you have a highly successful coaching business that works with sort of helping people access their divine feminine spirituality and power. Tell us a little bit more about this. We want to know, what is your mission?
Oh, well, essentially, my mission is about helping women reconnect to being women. And actually, to that extent, helping anyone who identifies with femininity in any way, shape, and form better connect to what it means to be feminine, what the divine feminine um, hoped for us to have, right? Because there's so much has been taken away from the aspect of femininity. It's been regaled to like a second-tier citizen sort of existence where being strong is valued, being masculine is valued, and being feminine is just, it's not important anymore. And fortunately or unfortunately, based on current world events, we're being shown that you don't, you can't just get by being masculine all the time. The world itself has been forced into this space of sitting back and having to take a deep breath for an entire year. That's not easy. And I think it's pushed a lot of people into questioning, am I really built to keep doing? Am I really built to keep forcing myself? Am I really built for this stuff? And for a lot of people, the answer is no, you're not built to constantly push yourself, to constantly force things to happen. And this is the wisdom of the divine feminine. So my mission is to make this wisdom um, easily approachable for the normal person, to make it easily implementable, if that is a word, or start implementing that in your life, and then to live from that place and not be at a constant odds within yourself. If I can just take a second here, because that's how I was raised to be an achiever. I was raised to be like, always going above and beyond, winning at everything. And I was embarrassed about being a girl because felt like felt like I'd been dealt a bad hand at the game of life. And now I had to go against my physicality and my biology, and it doesn't matter. I can still be as good as the boys, except in the last year or two, ever since I've started working with the divine feminine, I've recognized it's not a linear competition. Like, we each have gifts, and we need to kind of work in harmony with each other. And it's not like, I'm going to beat you. It's that concept now just feels so weird.
And I've got to ask, do you find that as you've explored the divine feminine, especially during the pandemic, that some of the things that you may have had once coded in your mind as being like masculine ideals, as opposed to feminine ideals or traits, have been completely blown out of the water because they don't subscribe to those binaries and those linear things?
To be fair, my understanding of what is masculine and feminine has grown. So I can't say that earlier I used to think this is feminine or masculine, because earlier I had no concept. It was earlier I probably thought of, well, this is what successful means, and this is everything else. Therefore, not valuable means. And now I'm starting to see that the concepts of successful and powerful and strong have aspects of feminine and aspects of masculine. So I'm able to see where or how can someone who has a strong masculine bent, how can they leverage that to get to success and power, and how can someone with a strong feminine bent leverage that for feminine for success and for power. And the funny thing is that while I was trained to be heavily masculine, and I think a lot of women find that that's what the world teaches us, is you have to be productive and you have to be achievement oriented and you have to have goals and you have to do blah and blah and blah and blah. I actually found out that I'm built to be highly feminine. So a lot of my life was just me trying to override, like a simple thing. I'll share a simple thing. I'm a very deep sleeper. I love my sleep. And my mother always said, "You're so lazy. Why can't you just, why can't you just get up on time? You're always late. You're always lazy." And the truth is because when you're fighting against your own self at a cellular level, that shit it's tiring. It's exhausting. Like now I'm like, no wonder I used to be so tired all the time and I needed to sleep so much because I was literally at war within myself. And working within or trying to understand myself from the perspective of divine feminine has helped me recognize, oh, this isn't a bad thing. Like my definition of good and bad has changed to, this is what's expected of me or required from me from the externals, and this is what I'm built for, or what my internal world is like. So to be able to make peace with the fact that this is how society is built and this is how I am built, and they're not wrong, that's been like mind blowing. It's opened up a whole other world. So within the container of the pandemic, I was actually able to experiment more with the laid back side of life and understand that everyone else was probably being put through a similar sort of pressure, and tap into the energies, who even talks like that, but the energies of the world, and and realize that we we are all being it's like this separation, right? The what used to earlier feel enmeshed is now the cream in the milk starting to separate, and you can actually pick and choose and say, this is what I want to keep, and all of this other stuff, I don't need that. I don't need the pressure. I don't need to force myself to wake up at 5 a.m. when the whole world is shut down. I used to give myself so much stress, and I was very unforgiving towards myself. Because again, I was always told, like, this is how you have to be if you want to be successful. You have to wake up before 6 o'clock. You have to wake up before the sun. You have to get like an hour of and exercise in. You have to do whatever. It was all also very like shouty. So whenever I go into the that sort of programming, I naturally start screaming because that's how I received a lot of this information. So I apologize. But I started playing with ideas of, okay, what if I didn't force myself to wake up at a particular time? What if I just started to get acquainted with my body's natural rhythm? And it hasn't, I mean, I think it's affected my productivity in a positive way rather than negative way. Now I don't spend the first 3 hours of the morning saying, you stupid cow, why didn't you wake up at a particular time? I'm just like, oh, well, that was nice. I got to sleep so much more. And then, oh, I went for a walk and I had this wonderful idea. Oh, okay. And now I get to be like delighted by life rather than, do you remember the movie Matilda?
Yeah.
With the I forgot the principal's name, but she looked so scary, and I kind of feel
Trunchbull.
like that. Trunchbull, yes, it had a bull in there. But that's how I used to feel like I'm Trunchbulling myself. And now I get to just chill out and be a little, a little fairy in the world. It's like, oh, this is pretty. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, fun.
So if you're saying the masculine energy is more about productivity and drive and competing and achievement and goals, and so how do you define feminine energy?
Oh, what a good question. I think the so we let me phrase this nicely. In the world of feminine energy and divine feminine, the masculine energy can oftentimes be vilified. So you'll hear a lot about the masculine is all about taking and pushing and forcing. And it's not true. Like what you just said, the concepts of success, the concepts of building, the concepts of achievement all fall under uh, a masculine tree of what it means, what masculine energy is all about. Right? There's a sense of individuality that comes up with being masculine. There's a confidence that comes up with being masculine. The feminine side of it is therefore by contrast more about community. It's more about nourishing and nurturing and taking care of each other. The feminine is about collective. So this could mean collecting something or also just being part of the collective. It's about collaboration. The feminine is just like maybe you haven't experienced it, but the thought that comes up when you think of a mother, a sister, a grandmother, a friend, the ideas that we have or that we've been sold on, the stories that we've been told about somebody who takes you in, who holds you, who sees you for who you are, these are all aspects of the feminine being lived through people. So God, what even are the words? Generosity, kindness, caring, nurturing, nourishment, collaboration. These are all very strong and potent feminine energies. And especially, I wanted to mention those because they have, or we can see examples of how these energies can also lead to success and power and strength. Right. So it's not
So
just about the maiden in the tower who's oh so dainty and oh so fragile and can't do anything for herself. Like, no.
so would you put things like creativity and play under that as well? Just because I'm just thinking about what you said about I went for a walk and I had an idea, and is that
Yes,
creating and play?
yes. Creativity, play, rest, rejuvenation. What more had come up while I was thinking? Oh well, it's gone now. But magic, birthing something, manifestation, receptivity. That's the one. Receptivity. These are all on a very individual level energies of the feminine that we can play with day to day to day.
Wow. And then where does the divine side, the divine feminine come in? How do you connect that?
Mm. So, well, the philosophy that I follow, or that makes most sense to me, says that in the beginning of time there was nothing, which I think all philosophies agree with. They're just like, you know, who cares what was there before time began? Not like we could have known anyway. But in the beginning of time, when there was nothing, there was this idea or consciousness, and it was feminine energy that birthed the rest of the universe. Now, you don't have to believe that, and I definitely don't want to be stepping on anyone's individual beliefs, but that's just what I believe. So, in my mind, the feminine, the divine feminine, is literally all around us because every particle in the universe is part of her. Um, when it comes to who the divine feminine is, that's she's the mother. She's the she's the one who gave us all whatever we have, from life to everything that we own, to all the relationships that we have. She's the one who's kind of sitting around and matchmaking in the heavens, like, oh, I think that one should meet that one and they'll get together and have babies, and that one should meet that one and they'll get together and have a business. So she's the one who's like sitting on top and making everything beautiful, making us all like meet each other, having us all, sometimes fight, because that can also be part of the spice of life, and sometimes collaborate. How we can access her is literally through not pushing ourselves into doing things that don't feel right to us. So leaning more into whatever our natural behavior is, what our nature is, even for even for men or those with high levels of masculine energy, there is still a bit of feminine energy there. It's very difficult to be 100% masculine or 100% feminine. There's always going to be, you know, a bit, a fragment, a percentage of both available to you at any point of time throughout your life. It's just depending on what role you might be fulfilling, you might adjust internally. So how we start to um, tap into the divine feminine is, I like to work with certain archetypes. So depending on whatever it is that I need, I work with archetypes or deities who embody archetypes of, for example, the mother, the wise old grandmother or the crone. There's the wild woman. There's the lustful, the erotic woman. There's the maiden. There's the creator. There's a ton of them, and I think with each school that you look at, they have different names. They have different personalities. So it's a rabbit hole. But I will say that depending on what it is that I need, and this is my personal practice, is depending on what I need today. So maybe I need a hint of creativity because I'm working on something and I'm feeling a little bit stuck. I'll call in um, either through a practice or through prayer or just by a simple, hands up, I need help, please help me, sort of a Hail Mary, where I'll just say, could you guide me? Could you help me? And just as it is with a parent who believes in our independence, they don't step in and walk all over you and tell you, hey, no, pay attention, this is how you have to do this. The goddesses or the divine feminine, I feel, kind of sits in the background, keeps an eye on you just to make sure you don't like kill yourself or get into any sort of trouble. But she just sits there and she's like, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And when you're like, could you help me, she's like, of course, sure, tell me what you need help with. And it could literally be that simple. um, but sometimes we need something more, delicious. So there's a list of practices that I take my clients through. But for me, now, at least now that I've gotten that comfortable with the energy, I'm just like, excuse me, I need some help, please.
And so, how did this sort of, because you had this revelation and kind of started to understand for your own processes this divine sort of wisdom and these divine practices. How did this then become your calling? How did you realize and what? How did that take shape as the as a holistic coach now?
Can I just tell you that I started on my coaching journey, like coaching other people, in 2015. It's a long time. And I think I've seen a lot of people kind of grow, and some of them fade away. I feel like I'm a dinosaur in this entire industry because I've seen stuff, I've seen the trends, I've seen anyway, coming back to the point, the 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 thing that was eluding me for a long time was I never felt it never felt right. So I've gone from niche to niche to niche, coaching people in health and fitness, coaching people in manifestation, coaching them in sleep at one point of time. I've had quite a few avatars in this whole role. And about in 2018, literally the goddesses in a vision came to me and said, hey, we need you, like, get over here and work with us. And I was like, I'm not, at least at that point of time, I didn't think that I was psychic or intuitive. So to me, I was just like, I don't know what's happening. Even though I've been meditating, or I was introduced to meditation at age 10, so it's not new. There's always been a part of me that kind of understood like these spiritual things and how bonkers it can get. So it wasn't like, I wasn't like, oh my God, what is going on? But at the same time, it was different. It was very different than any other experience that I'd had. So I kind of remember just suddenly being aware that I wasn't in that vision space anymore, and looking around my house, just like, what, did anyone else see this? What happened? Um, and then it took me a few months to basically get up the courage to follow what was being asked of me. Um, the moment that happened, though, it clicked like something that had been missing in my life for a very long time. The feeling of not being at home, the feeling of I don't know what my bigger purpose is. All of that was suddenly gone because I was able to reach the goddess energy very quickly and say, well, why me? And they were like, because you have a physical, you're born in India, you have a lineage of human beings that were born in India, you come from this particular part of the country where they worship us, like they worship the goddess more than the gods. There's a whole thing. They just like started rattling out all of these reasons. They're like, you thought that you, because I always ask this question, like, I feel like I've been born in the wrong place at the wrong time. I really think that I never felt at home, and the people locally would never get me. And I was like, why is this happening? And here they were telling me that the exact things that you thought were wrong with you are the reasons that you're the right person for this. And I was like, holy shit, what? And I questioned. I didn't want to believe it. I think we all have that like dark soul of the night where we're just like, is it possible that it's just like you picked the wrong person, that you were going for someone else, and someone like you got knocked off course and you picked me by mistake? Like, am I really who you wanted? No, right? It's not me. And they were just, I think like a few months down the road, I had another experience where they were like, are you going to do this or not? Like, quit fucking wasting our time. Either say yes, jump on board and start, or, it's fine if you don't want to do it. We we need a certain kind of person to help bring the feminine aspect back into the world, because your world is crumbling right now, and we need to reinfuse femininity into the world. And if it's not you, we're going to pick someone else, but you're a good fit. And so that's the point where I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do it. And then the moment I jumped in, like I said, things started moving at a speed that I didn't know I would have access to. I was like, this is exciting. Okay. And I didn't have time to think about like my doubts and stuff. And the good news was that having already the number of programs I'd been through, the number of clients I'd worked with, like everything to that point, it just melted beautifully into this new direction. And I was like, oh yeah, I can actually use all of the things that I've learned and the experiences that I've had and put it across in this way that makes sense. It's not just because it's a very weird experience to try and talk about a very religious sort of closed ideology and bring it to a mixture of people on the internet. I was so sure I would face a bunch of comments or hate about like, keep your religion to yourself. And it's beautiful really how accepting at least my audience has been, and they were like, oh yeah, that's interesting, I want to know more about this. And I was like, well, honestly, like touch, I would not have been able to say that that's how people would have reacted. It's quite funny and interesting.
I love that. I love that. I think that there is, it causes us to feel that inner alignment. But when you find that deep knowing, you, until you experience that, you kind of don't get what that would mean. Intellectually you can understand, but to really get it and to know, I mean, Ryan and I don't really have a plan B outside of Confidence Through Cabaret, because there's just this.
This is true.
That's it. Like, we want to do other things.
Yeah.
We each have our own ways that we want to create or show up in the world individually. But when you find a deep knowing, it does just pick up pace really fast.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool thing. And that's how, I mean, I've talked to you a couple times before about this, but that's how I found Cabaret. I just woke up and went, I need to do burlesque. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I know I need to do that. And that's such a weird thing for me to say, because I would have watched other people and gone, cool, that sounds weird. But when it happens, and it's little whispers, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very true.
How does that come to you? I know you have lots of practices and lots of things that you take your clients through. How does it, I mean, it's different for different people. I know that's what you're going to say, but how does it typically show up? Like, for anybody who's never experienced that, how do you explain that?
That is a really good question, and one that I'm trying to figure out how to answer. Because if I'm being very honest, my first brush with divinity was at age 10. And at age 10, you don't know what, at least for me, I didn't know what was real and what was part of my, imaginary world. I really didn't. And so at that point of time, when I was told I had a spiritual awakening experience, I was like, cool. Because I was like, nothing shifted in my world, right? Like, everything was like, solids were still solid. I wasn't floating in the air. Like, there was nothing paranormal or weird happening. I was like, so is this it then? Like, is it's just going to stay the same? No. Even at age 10, I had a feeling that there would be something magical, and now I would only see rainbows in my field of vision, and no one would be a jerk to me anymore. That's not what happened. Like, everything was still the same. So in a way, I feel like there's a part of me that that from age 10 has just been like, I have been chosen, I am special, and that's it. And so there was a door that I never closed. So there was an entry point for divinity at all points. Like, I may not have paid attention to it, so it may not have been there to support me at times in my life when I really needed it. But I feel like that's the easiest analogy for me. Is it's a door that you have access to, that you can lock with a big ass padlock and throw away the key, or it's something that you can keep slightly just a tad open, and leave a little room for magic, whatever you want to call it. Because I like to believe that whatever forces you believe in, even if it's just you, right? If you're like, I am the only thing that matters, whatever you believe in is always nudging you to something a little bit better. And it's not going to be like the 10-year-old me thought that your entire field of vision is going to change, that you're suddenly going to see the world in a brand new light. It's minute, it's minuscule, it's a teeny tiny step up, but the ability to now, the awareness that I now have, I think that's the missing piece for a lot of people. It's that the divinity is always there. It's when you have the ability to recognize it or have that awareness, you'll see it everywhere. It's amazing. Those whispers that you were just talking about, Heather, that's divinity, right? The little nudges saying you want cake is also divinity. It's so like you won't connect the two, but like pleasure, for example, is a feminine concept. In fact, pleasure is one of the ways that the divine feminine reminds us why why we are here. It's not just about the suffering. It's not just about all the shit that we've gone through. It's to go through all of that and have a deep appreciation for pleasure. And I feel so bad that there's literally millions of women who deny themselves pleasure in any shape and form. Like, no wonder we're all so unhappy. No fucking wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah, the divine feminine is everywhere. She's calling out to everyone. She's desperately hoping that we start to have the awareness to say, oh, hey, hi, nice to meet you. Come along.
So we all have doors and we're all chosen for our journey.
Yep.
So what do you do in your practice with your clients or your work? If someone wants
Oh,
to work with you, how do they know that? Do they already understand those doors or that calling, or do you help them figure that out, or what is your work?
mm. For me, the if everything in your life isn't flowing beautifully, you probably have a door that needs to open, or you probably have room for the divine, right? So if you're living in paradise all the time, excellent. What are you doing here? But also, usually it's a sense of curiosity. So for people who work with me, they're just like, I've always been curious about a particular goddess or a deity or this line of work. I'm wondering if this is a good fit. And often what I'll do is, this is where it gets a little bit woo woo and the energetic like stuff goes a little bit crazy, but I will normally meet someone and get a read on them, right? I'll be able to like tell, oh, this is what's going on with you. It's not like judgy. It's not like, oh my God. Not at all, but more like a sense of I get to know you on a level that's different from just the physical plane. So we might be talking, but I'll actually get a sense of who you are, like a 360-degree view. And from that energetic imprint, I'll be able to speak with or connect with the goddess and be like, hey, does anyone know what she needs help with? Can anyone help me? Like if she needs something, do you guys have anything that you want to offer her? And it's very like I'm just a middleman. That's my thing. I'm a facilitator. I've known this about myself for a very long time. I don't do things. I just take what someone needs and what someone has and I put them together and I'm like, have a ball, go crazy. So now I'm doing the same thing but with humans and like energies. I'm like, oh, okay, what is the energy that this particular person requires, or what could really make their lives and their experiences super juicy? And someone will always come through. So I feel like those people who reach out to work with me, there is a tug somewhere. Someone's knocking on their door and they're like, oh, well, one of the ways to answer that door is to say, hey, Akriti, like, can you help me, and not every one of those conversations turns into like working with me, because you may not need that at this point, and that's okay. You might just need like a little a tune up, and that can the fun thing is that a tune up can happen with something as simple as a glance. You could just walk by someone and be, you know suddenly find yourself in complete alignment because they had what you needed and there was like an energetic exchange that happened. So there'll be times when I'll speak to a friend or a possible client or an old client, and I'll be like, this is what you need, I've done it for you, go and have a good day, I'll talk to you later. And it's brilliant. So people who end up working with me find that there's some sort of like a almost like an energetic glass ceiling. They're like, oh, I don't know how to get through this. I don't know what's happening, and I'm doing all of the things, and I have tried all the strategies, and everything that used to work before isn't working before. What's happening? And usually I like to say that when you're tired of everything else and you're just willing to try something new, that's when you come over here, because there is a certain level of curiosity and a willingness to accept any random thing that I throw at you. That's necessary. And when you're in that state of openness and what, as you call it, Heather, beginner mind, oh, that's the space for magic. That's the real space for magic, right?
Ah, I love that. So I just needed to take a moment and just like let that sink in, because
Yeah.
I am very aware of energy exchange pretty much all of the time, to the point where I don't notice the kind of, I don't know, the physical attributes of a person. That's usually the last thing I notice about a person. And so somebody will say, "Oh, didn't you love their blue shirt?" And I think, I didn't take that in, but I loved what was going on behind their eyes, or I loved that energy around them. I don't know. I don't read it. I just instinctively connect with people's energy, which allows me very conveniently to be able to run big conferences and things, because I can connect so quickly. But I think we all can. I just think we sometimes shut that out.
Yeah.
And it's still going on. We just choose not to be aware of it, and we choose what we're aware of. So when you talked about that, there were various things that you do with your clients, and various things that you take them through. And obviously, you said you work with some of them briefly, and then some of them for a long time. So what kind of things do you get them to do? Do you get them to meditate, or what are the kind of practices, or what are the options? What's my menu?
I basically have you take your life and stop looking at it as a struggle. If that's if that even makes sense. So I find that the easiest thing to do is give you a similar experience tailored to you as what I had, which is here were all these issues that I thought I was having, but what was needed was a little bit of a reframe. And suddenly you start to see everything like, oh shit, the perfection of it, the beauty of it, the actual joy that I have access to. If you're not constantly looking at all of the things that I have to do and all the shit that's still left over, and you start to revel in your gift, in your beauty, in your strengths, the world takes on a whole other meaning. Like nothing can get you down anymore. So I do things like meditation for sure. A lot of times I'll do rituals with the goddesses. So I'll give, if Heather is my client, I'll give Heather, usually one particular goddess will come to work with you at a time. So there'll be a particular deity who will have a very specific sort of ritual, which we, depending on how casual you want that relationship to be, we tailor it to your like lifestyle, your belief system, your needs. And if you're like somebody who's like, no, I am in it, I'm 100%, like give me the most elaborate ritual you can find, we make that happen as well. The aim is to install yourself into that energy that will work for you. So for example, I work very well with people one to one because I find too many people to be overwhelming because of the same thing, right? I'm having energetic exchange all day, all night. I actually had to move out of a really big city, in Bombay, in India, because it was just getting from home to my workplace would destroy me because you're in the train with God knows how many hundreds and thousands of people, and you're just like we're brushing up against people. And imagine exchanging energy with 20, 30, 40 people in an hour.
Just full sensory overload.
Absolutely. And by the time I reach work, like there's no energy in my physical body. And I was actually teaching dance at this point of time, and I was teaching 30 kids at a time. And anyone who's taught kids knows you need every ounce of energy to keep up with them, right? Otherwise, they're going to pull fast ones on you. They're going to run away. They're going to do everything in their power to just like not be. They're such a good example of what it means to not be caged. That all of us, or at least while I was still very much in my cage programming, it was like have to take multiple deep breaths. There used to be many times when I would try to get to work 15 minutes earlier so I could like meditate or nap and recenter myself, because it was a whole deal trying to get through a day without all of my energy, or with my energy like already dispersed. So yeah, we do meditations, we do rituals, we do a lot of traditional coaching work. I give based on what you're asked for. So we do a lot of movement as well, because again, feminine principles, your body movement is all interconnected. We do practices in nature if that's available to you, or other sort of grounding practices. We do a lot of connecting with your own physical body. Um, and yeah, if someone comes, I also do pleasure related practices. So like I said, getting back in touch with the aspects of the feminine that we might have lost track of or lost touch with, and inviting into your life, into your experience, the parts of the feminine that you may have never even been introduced to before. So there's a huge menu to choose from. My job is to give you an appropriate selection, and then work off of that, because I don't want to overload people. There's just so much.
Oh, thank you so much for taking us through so much of your practice and your awakening and your kind of sensitivity to all of these energies. I love the idea that you're taking this inner knowledge and then helping other people realize it for themselves. And that's absolutely wonderful. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you? Where can people find you? We need to know.
Okay, yes, I love that you put it this way. Inner knowledge into the outer world. That's awesome. I'm on Instagram at Aakriti Kundu. It's very simple, but we will put a link so that
Sure,
it's
sure.
easier to find me. And I have a website that's under construction. That's also akritikundu.com. But if you head over there, you can just put your email in, and we will get you um, in the fold, in the little secret community, and get you in on all the latest happenings, because there's some interesting shit that's going to come through.
And
So
is there
yeah.
anything you want to tease for 2021?
Oh my God, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so fun. There's literally there's ideas and courses
Mm.
and all sorts of good shit that's just coming out. So yeah, there's a lot that's on my mind, in my energy, just waiting to be birthed. 2021 is gonna be lit.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited.
You have a podcast as well.
Yeah, that's right. You do.
I have a podcast coming out, so it's in. Like I said, lots of things getting birthed.
Yeah.
It's on its way, but it's going to be all about literally what we just talked about. My conversations with the goddesses, the information that they're sending through me. A lot of it is going to be my journey
Mm.
and helping you on your journey.
Right.
So
Exciting.
it's going to be some fun stuff. I don't know why the word pizza is coming up. It's almost like we're all going to be putting out energy as toppings and make a delicious pizza.
Now I need
Make
pizza.
of that.
I like pizza.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
That's going to be the rest of my day now. It's like, when do I get pizza?
I
Sorry.
love connecting with
Sorry
you.
about
I always feel a mixture of absolute excitement and because we're very frantic, because we're both very extrovert and we have a lot of fun. But then equally, and that can be really draining with some people when you're just. But I also feel an equal balance of just pure joy and peace when I talk with you. I could listen to you all day. I love that.
Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. It has been such a pleasure. And Now, we spoke a little bit about this earlier. Would you like to sign off with us in our special way? Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on the
Absolutely.
Competency Cabaret podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Heather.
I'm Aakriti.
And we'd like to remind you that it is your body,
Your body,
your world,
World.
your
and
stage.
your
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We will speak to you soon. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. See you next time.